does not bother me. I don't know how he does that. I think maybe because he's always got, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe the attitude, or maybe like in Burn After Reading, he's funny. So I laugh at the funny and it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. So I guess there's always like his intention is bigger than like the gum is kind of secondary to
And he's
what
so
his
manic.
intentions are, you know?
He's so
Yeah.
manic, right? And he's just sort of doing it in the background. He's not doing it to be cool.
No, no. And I think maybe that's the thing. Like, I don't like gum chewing for like coolness or like, or how like cowboys and detectives do their gum chewing. That's so annoying. I don't know. There's like a, yeah,
I,
spitting and like, I don't know. I don't like it. I like,
I
but
couldn't
he
play
doesn't do
baseball.
that.
I watch people play baseball in a dugout, it's just people smacking gum,
Oh,
and I
yeah,
think I
yeah,
would go
yeah.
insane. I would
Mm,
last 3 games,
mm.
then I would have to
Yeah.
leave the sport itself. So,
That
but
they would throw me out probably
and
for not coping.
you know what's funny? I was reading in my so Moneyball. I wrote that he's doing stress eating. In Ocean's Trilogy, he's just kind of looking cool. He's on the move. Meet Joe Black. I wrote that he has curious eating. Interview with the Vampire. I put very hungry eating. California, gross eating, and then 7 Years in Tibet, I'll eat anything eating. So you're right. He does have different eating styles in his movies, like eating to
Yeah, he
prove a
does
point
have
in
this
Mr. and Mrs.
method.
Smith.
Mm. Yeah, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like there's a lot of power eating happening there.
Yeah.
Power eating, like that's what's happening there. Yeah, I love it. There's always
Ooh,
method. There's
power
always
eating.
reason. He's not just grabbing something to eat, like, or, oh, this is something I can do in a scene because I don't know what to do with my hands, or Ricky Bobby. It's not that. Like, he's got reason and motivation, and it fits his character, and it actually enhances it.
Whoa.
His acting and the character of it.
And
Yeah.
that's just it's just so random, but I just love it. It just loves I loved going through this, and this is bringing back good
Love
memories
it.
of my data. Like so to
Nice.
do this, I used what I love about this data collection. Like I remember I used Voodoo, I used Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Crackle, Tubi, Hoopla. I used IMDb, Free Dive, and then I went to my local library. So this was kind of a I think this is the first time that I really, really, really combed through film. And I had done this before, but I think this is the first time I'd ever gone through an actor's like an entire filmography. I'd done Tom Cruise running before this. So then maybe that's why,
Yes.
yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
big
That
one for
was,
me. I went through his
that
entire film.
was.
So that was my first. I went through all that and watched that and combed through everything. And you know what was neat between the Tom Cruise and the Brad Pitt eating is I really realized that you can't trust these online sources that say every
No.
run ever. You just learn.
No.
Um,
Unfortunately.
yeah, I remember I watched, and like, there's a video I watch every blah 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 ever. It has like several million views. I was like, well, I had seen this movie before, and I remember a running scene that's not included in this. So I went back and I rented it and I watched it, and I found a running scene that wasn't in the every running scene ever. So it
Mm.
kind of made me realize that like you can't like I guess with my data you can't half it. Like you can't like half-ass it. You just have to rent everything. You have to like comb through it because uh, you you're kind of at the I don't like being at the mercy of other people, and I feel like that's what makes my data kind of unique is just the amount of work I put into it. But I don't know. I was glad to have that lesson. I didn't try to start off like by watching that. I just kind of did it. I like to have like a basic idea. You know what I like to do actually is I like to do all my data. I like to compile everything, and then I'll go and watch a supercut, and just in case I miss something.
It's not that we also don't always trust other people or other people's research online or whatever. The thing is just like we're doing it and putting our names on it. So you want it to feel like it is your work. It's not just someone else's that you just like copy paste it and there you go. Like we always want to go and see for ourselves what else can we like pick up because like it's a new fresh pair of eyes on work, you know? Sure, someone picks up that he was eating there, but did they pick up the Fritos bag on the couch? Like little stuff like that again, those details that, also makes you feel like, yeah, this is my data thing or this was my article. Like I did it. And honestly, that's just like a good practice in general. If you work online and you do research for pop culture and these type of things, see your own stuff. Go check. Go even like if a source looks good, go make sure for yourself, double check it. It never like, it's always a good idea to double check things. You never know, maybe you pick up on something. Maybe someone else missed something. That happens. We all like, no one's perfect. So, but yeah, I like that. I like the little details and like, and then you also feel like, yeah, you put in the work. It was your work. Hell yeah.
And my nightmare is for someone to be like, oh, you missed this.
That's
my nightmare.
Exactly. Or like, did this person even watch the movie?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I remember I was writing an article for Cracked, and it was a Star Wars one with like 10 things you didn't notice. And I picked one, and I didn't watch maybe the last 20 seconds of the scene. And I was like, yeah, the Emperor never blinks. And then I get this message like, hey, Mark, watch the last 20 seconds of the scene. The Emperor blinked 7 times. And so I just felt that's the worst feeling in the world when you've missed something. They're like,
exactly.
Like that, I get that maybe like when you're analyzing every single Academy Award winner based on age, height, like race and all this kind of stuff, genre of film, you might, type something in wrong. But it's just that it's the worst. And I've done that before. But when it's like the worst feeling to get, hey, Mark, you missed this. And it's like, oh, Mark. And you're like, oh, that sinking feeling you have. And you just like, there's really no excuse either because you missed it. And so that's why, I don't know, I feel good about this Brad Pitt data. Like I mean, I didn't get Megamind, but I guess I only looked at live action, but it's still, I feel good about it because I did the work. And I don't know, with the Tom Cruise, I did the work. And I think this was a really good starting, this is when I felt really confident. My research, I guess. And then I had fun writing a piece because like I wrote some stupid stuff. I included a pie chart and I kind of made it easy and this is another one where I knew that I should just make it easy. Like just make it as easy as possible. So Brad Pitt movies make more money when he eats more. Like that's like I felt because have you ever written something that's like really in-depth research and just no one cares? Have you ever done that?
I recently did that, yes. I felt like that was my horror article last year. Like I over-researched. I did this whole thing and nobody cared. Like I feel like no one read it. Like it was crickets. I felt like, wow, why? And it's true what you say. Like make it easy digestible and just easy and fun. So it's not like this super serious thing that you're gonna get all hung up about, and that's what makes your stuff so easy to just like. That's why everyone likes it. That's why it does so well. Like your stuff's doing numbers. Again, you brought your new Scream article. You want to quickly plug that one? It's doing so well over on Reddit.
If you can fit it into a funny headline and you're passionate about it, then it works. Like the more Brad Pitt eats, the better a movie does. Like that's funny. Like I like that. And that's something that people already talk about. But then I also like really blending in niche stuff like the Bloodsport piece I did. I like kind of having a few weird ones and then a big one to kind of keep my name out there in the world. But yeah, this Brad Pitt one definitely did pretty well for me. And it's neat. Like it was in Lad Bible, like a lot of different places covered it. And then a lot of videos came out afterwards and they got millions of views. And I wonder if they looked at my data and were like, okay, we need to find these scenes.
I wonder.
Give me props for it, maybe. I don't know. But, I guess that's not why I do it either. I don't really do this to, I don't know, get adoration and, I just like doing it. This made me laugh. And I also got to understand one of the biggest A-listers of our generation. So I kind of dug it. And it just makes me laugh every time I look at it. So it's, so I'm glad you came and talked. And I'm glad you shared it in Cracked because then that got eyes on it all. I still see in my stats links coming from Cracked. So they're either looking for either my It Follows or Brad Pitt article.
Yeah, exactly. Because those are the only two that I've used.
And then someone wrote an article about my movies that feature Lundgren throwing a front kick. Like I did
beautiful.
Those too. And then someone covered that on Cracked, which makes me very happy. That happened years ago. But no, I don't know. I just enjoyed putting this together. I liked going because you know how many people in this world, Zanandi, are like, Brad Pitt eats a lot. I'm like, then I kind of just went, okay, well, how much? Like that's kind of how you make your name. You find something popular, people talk about it in general terms. You're like, all right, I'm going to explore it. and see how much actually he does. And it's done well for me, and it was fun. So, and you know what's interesting? I know we got to get out of here soon, but when people tell me, they're like, how much you waste all your time, or like you have no life. And I'm like, well, I never sleep and I'm always busy. But like, when you get 30,000 upvotes on something, you're not wasting your time.
You're
Like,
doing
you're
cool
not,
stuff.
yeah, like that's not like, so like, you know, it's interesting though. Sometimes people will be like, oh, you have no life when something I've written has done, 15,000 upvotes. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that's not like, this is pretty good. Like, this is not like, there's an end game to this, I guess, that I do it. But I always get annoyed when people say that to me.
Yeah, I don't think people listen, Mark. I mean, we know a lot of people don't really understand what writers do at all, especially like in today's world, online digital writers. And it's difficult to explain. I mean, I remember the first article I wrote for Cracked, I think it was at the beginning of 2017, and it was about dark corners, creepy corners of the internet. And that was still, at that time, the Cracked article still showed you the views. That article got over 1 million views. Now I
Whoa.
remember, yeah, I remember the later on it came out that the view counts were broken. So I can't say for sure that it was broken by then or before, but even if it was, we're still talking about like hundreds of thousands of views still. That was when like everyone was still reading Cracked, like when it was still
Hmm.
big, when like Dan and everyone was still there. That's a lot of views. So yeah, like people will be like, oh, what do you like even do? You're just like on the internet and blah blah. And it's like they don't realize that thousands and thousands of people are reading our stuff or listening to the podcasts or like, I mean, that's not nothing. Like
Mm-mm.
that's not nothing.
Hey, do you get
So
paid for what you do?
yeah,
I get that
that's the
question
thing,
a lot.
yeah. Yeah, like but yeah, no, and also you shouldn't downplay these things like you do. Like the dumb data is fine, we'll forgive you for that, but you do very important work. It's very important for everyone to understand that Brad Pitt knows what he's doing when he's eating a wrap. He knows what he's doing when he's eating a pot sticker, and he knows what he's doing when he's eating nachos. The man knows what he's doing, and that's very important to understand. Like it changes your whole perspective of him. So you're doing important work, Mark. Like here we are talking about it. So many people have used your data. We wouldn't have if it wasn't important. So thanks,
I
and keep
appreciate
up the
that.
good work.
I will. And if you're listening to
And
this, you probably
chew with your mouth closed.
oh yeah. And don't eat peanut butter like Brad Pitt does in Meet Joe Black.
Yeah, and leave the rats alone. And
Yeah,
yeah,
wraps. I like the idea of wraps, but I don't know. They're not the best to eat on the run.
I mean, I feel like it's messy. I love a wrap though. I love a wrap.
Yeah. But
Um,
like I guess if you're seated, but like rapping and walking doesn't seem perfect. Because there's a lot
I
of
mean,
loose stuff in there.
exactly. Jonah saw the stuff fall from the wrap. So, like, yeah, maybe sit down outside and enjoy a nice summer wrap. Anyway, yeah, okay, let's wrap it up. Let's
Yeah,
wrap
let's wrap.
it up, Mark.
Oh. All right.
Oh!
Well, hey, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
It was. Thanks, dude.
And then
Awesome.
people can find you on Twitter, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, writing stuff. Check me out on Twitter and hopefully on future podcasts.
All right. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Zanati Boetes, this is Movie Songs and Flicks. We'll see you next week.